I want to share that story about what does it mean to fight through adversity? Why is adversity? Because you almost have to know the bitter to know the sweet. And it's because of faith, it's because of friendships, it's because of the business.
So we are here with one of my good friends and business partners for about the last 15 years.
Yes, that's correct.
Sean and I have been friends with Rusty and Bridget, and they're just a phenomenal couple. Rusty is an incredible leader, and he started working with me about 15 years ago, and he came from a corporate background. So Rusty, will you please just first tell him kind of a little bit about your background and kind of getting started from going from corporate to entrepreneur?
So we met at church, and I'd been looking for something a little bit different, was tired of working for corporate America, felt like an employee that was in a slavery type business.
Right.
And so I was working corporate America. I was a CFO for one of GE's acquisitions, and just kind of doing the rigmarole. It's what my parents always taught me to do: go get a good education, get a good job. It just didn't feel.
You have a finance degree from Pepperdine.
Yep. Got a degree from Pepperdine, and it didn't feel like it was fulfilling.
Right.
It felt like it was just going through the motions, working for someone else, and just
Not making an impact.
Yeah, I didn't feel like I was making an impact or giving back. It's just looking at computer screens, working with people, and it just didn't feel right. So it was good. I was on the corporate path, but it just didn't feel like it was getting the right feel, or just feel like I was making a difference.
Okay. And then so what transitioned you into being an entrepreneur?
You know, I think as I was growing up, going through school and whatnot, I always kind of did side gigs here and there. I always knew I wanted to work harder, and I always wanted to make more money. But if I worked harder at a corporate job, I never got paid more.
Right.
I was always on a W-2. Didn't matter if I worked harder, I still got the same pay. So I was like, well, if I could find something where I could work harder, put more hours in, and get more benefit from it, or at least try to work smarter at it, I wanted to find something that could reward me that way, but also give me balance.
Right.
Time, family, kids, do some things that are fun, just have personal time too, and just feel like, I don't know, just feel like you're leaving a true legacy behind.
Right.
To where you just won't work at a job for 40 years and go, what did I do with my life?
Yeah, I can totally relate. I mean, I came from a corporate background and just kind of doing the same thing every day, never learning, never growing, and just wanted to have more, a better quality of life and more time with family. And Rusty, you are definitely a family man. Now, Rusty is a hard worker. He is relentless, and it's always just trying to improve yourself and to grow as a person. But you also have always wanted a family, and you have your wife in the business. You have 2 little boys. So how has being an entrepreneur served that aspect of your life?
So the nice thing about being an entrepreneur in this business is that there's no defined calendar or structure.
Right.
Saturday is whenever I want it to be. So if I want to do a date with my wife at lunchtime, I can do that. If I need to take the kids to school, or I can pick them up, or I can teach them different principles that we learn here about being an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurial path is definitely a much more of a fun roller coaster, but it's definitely a great journey because you learn how to be a better father, better husband. You learn how to teach your kids to, fight for being a champion. I remember one time, because of being an entrepreneur, my son and I were on a trip that we won to the Teton Pines with Jackson Hole, Wyoming.
Wow,
And
so beautiful there.
Yeah, it was beautiful. It was awesome. And it was a father-son trip, and the company gave us an upgrade. And during that upgrade, Kai, when he was about 6 or 7 years old, we were having breakfast. He goes, "Dad, you always talk to me about being a champion. Well, I tried telling my friend at school that he's going to be a champion." And he says, "Well, I don't want to be a champion. I just want to be in the normal crowd." That's what my mom, I know, right? And he goes, "That's what
interesting.
I know, it's interesting." And he goes, "That's what my parents taught me." And he goes, "How do I tell my friend that he needs to be a champion?" It's not just, hey, we're successful entrepreneurs, or we're successful making money, or we work harder or more successful, whatever. It was really about just being what's important, which is being a good person, having good integrity, being a great father, being a better husband, just being happy overall, which is far more important.
So now, again, you're a hard worker, and you've built an incredible business. You make well over $500,000 a year, pretty much on a residual basis at this point, and probably will go over 7 figures in the next 18 months or so, I think.
Yes.
And you obviously have had to maintain balance, strive to have balance, even though you want to go and you want to grind. How do you do that? Because you're such a go, make it happen competitive guy. How do you maintain that balance?
Well, I have a great wife.
Yeah.
that reminds me to kind of take a step back and understand what it's like. But I had to realize I was kind of like that person where you grind, and I love to do that. So I had to compartmentalize. And you've been a great mentor to that too. Like, I watch you and Sean about how you balance all the kids, the church responsibilities, building a hierarchy, building
a lot
your
of
base,
personal growth,
working out, just finding the time. And so you really kind of find the time to say, well, where can I give 110% in the dedicated time when I'm at work? How can I give 110% during the time when I'm with my wife, or when I'm with my kids, or when I'm doing church responsibility, whatever it is. So I realized that if you could find the balance and give your all during that time period, you can work smarter and have it all and be more successful. Because when you just grind in one area of your life, which I did for many years and had to learn from that, I was less successful because
Kind of plateau.
I plateaued because I burned out on the candlestick in, like, let's say, the work aspect of life, but I was failing as a father. I was failing as a husband. I was failing as a spiritual person. I wasn't getting my own time for having fun or competing or feeling like I was being successful in the areas I wanted to be, because I was great here, but everything else was like, you know? And so when I kind of started looking at the different mentors like you and Sean, like I love looking at your guys' life, or looking at, let's say, maybe an Ed Milet or Jeff Levitan or Monty Holm, like how do you increase capacity with the same time and go, what's important? How can I delegate that? And then by having a better balance, I was more successful because I knew what I was fighting for.
Yes, that you're focused and you're happy and more clarity. So then you can pour yourself in to each of those areas, which of course business and financial is going to be a part of that too.
Exactly.
So again, you're working so hard all the time, and you are working in all those areas. I've seen a ton of personal growth in every area of your life, especially the last 12 months. So what do you do when you need to just unwind? You need to just kind of decompress.
So kind of the type of person that likes a little bit of drama. So I'm kind of a sci-fi fan a little bit. So sometimes when I'm late at night when the family's asleep, I'll watch maybe like a 30, 40 minutes like sci-fi magic show.
Really? I didn't know that.
Because I love that kind of drama stuff. I'm just like I used to watch like CSI, like, oh, something's good going on. Or sometimes what I'll do is I'll meditate sometimes. I'll just kind of go into like meditation. I'll just kind of clear my mind, clear my thoughts. Or what I also like to do is I'll either play tennis or I'll work out in my garage, because I have a gym now in my garage. And then just something to play sports where like I can have a single focus and not have to worry about anything else.
Yeah, awesome. Well, now I know that you have, worked hard for a while now. Like I said, I've seen you go the last 15 years in personal growth, hard work. But through that time, there's also been some setbacks. And one thing I've noticed about you is, hard work's not it's not a big deal. You're gonna work hard. Every entrepreneur is going to have adversity and fears and doubts and things that they have to get over. But I've seen have the ability to bounce back even from the very hard things. And so I watched over the last few years, you had to bury 4 babies. And, one miscarriage or one loss of a child, I think is enough to take out most people in business and in marriage. And I've seen you work through that while your business still grew and you grew and your marriage grew. So what are some of the ways that you can, I guess, deal with adversity and still, get through that and get through it stronger?
Yeah, my kind of, when you asked that question, my skin crawled a little bit. I would definitely say it was because of the business and the mentors that I was surrounded by and continue to be surrounded by, because it's having that team and that circle of friends that are kind of supporting you and fighting for your success, to where we can lean on them. If it wasn't for some of the friends, even mentors like yourself, that weren't supporting my wife and I through this, we probably wouldn't have made it. I mean, we'd probably be in some asylum or being depressed. And, I think any marriage, no parent should ever have to outlive their kids, or it's just, I think about it and, think about some of the principles we learn as an entrepreneur is that we just never quit. We just keep going and we keep going, and almost to a fault sometimes, where you become insensitive to, let's just keep going, let's keep going, without understanding the needs of my wife or understanding the emotional aspect of it.
And you're dealing with your own grief, and it's hard to
or the way
help her through it.
Yeah, help my wife through it, because she deals with it differently, or how I handle it. So it really comes down to just having that sense of self-reflection, going, well, what's really important in life? What are the blessings you currently have in your life? Knowing that I'm going to see my kids again one day, and also knowing that, I do have a family. I have 6 kids, and I'm grateful for that. And if it wasn't for that adversity, we would have never adopted our son. Yeah. And so what would his life be like? Awesome. And Cade's amazing, And so I'm in the process of writing a book about it as well, because it's like, I want to share that story about what does it mean to fight through adversity? Why is adversity? Because you almost have to know the bitter to know the sweet. And it's because of faith, it's because of friendships, it's because of the business, it's having the right mentors around you, people that love you and care about you. But it does come a time where you have to maybe we had to seek out therapists too. I mean, we had to seek out therapists. We had to learn how to just go through it, feel the emotions, understand it was okay to be vulnerable. And it was something that I learned that with the team and with the business that vulnerability is okay. And I wasn't okay with that at first.
Sometimes hard driving entrepreneurs, they have to be so strong. They don't want to show weakness, and it's just so hard. But one of the things that you mentioned so important, because I see entrepreneurs starting out and every little adversity becomes this huge major distraction. Obviously this is way more than normal that we'd have to deal with, but how do they stay focused when that adversity comes?
When that adversity comes, it's always going back to what's the ultimate goal that you have, with your wife or your significant other. It's understanding what's the end game, what's the ultimate game in your life that you want to achieve? What do you ultimately want to have in your life? What do you define as happiness? Count your blessings, because look, we're all gonna have adversity. So
none of us are gonna.
Yeah, exactly. I mean,
and you have to be willing to take it and bounce back.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the rain. I'm from Seattle, so I always tell people, I'm look, it's gonna rain sometimes, so you have to learn how to dance in it. And so you just have to learn.
That's what I see with you. Always smiling, always, trying to look on the bright side.
Yeah, just
always trying to keep
optimist.
going.
Yeah, be an optimist and understand that, look, adversity comes because there's greater blessings around the corner, right? And then adversity is a great way to help you grow as an individual. If you don't have adversity, how do you become stronger? Not that I seek adversity, I just know that it exists, but I'm willing to take that adversity on because we know what the end game is. We know what the path is. We know what the journey is. And so as a couple, my wife and I, we know where we want to go, what empire we want to build. And we know that together, nobody can beat us, right? And look, it's been tough. We've been kind of like this sometimes. And sometimes it's communicating Venetia versus Martian and me understanding her heart and my logical aspect. And, you've been a huge help to that, you and Sean. And so you're always growing. But that's what makes a marriage so great, is that you're learning how to grow together and meld two lives together to where you can say, we can do this together as a couple.
Yeah, have a common vision.
Common vision.
You said something a couple times about being surrounded by a good, positive group, that how you had support. And I think when someone goes through that type of adversity or trial, you hope that you have people that care about you, that you can be there. And and if you don't, you got to deal with that too. But I think that when you were mentioning it, it was different, like more of a mastermind alliance, people that cared about you, but also were of like mind.
Yep.
That knew your goals, not just to grieve with you.
Right.
So how important do you think it is to have the right associations and the right mastermind group?
Yeah, so having the right mastermind group is, one of my mentors talked about, he says, look, he's like, when you have the right mastermind group, each of those individuals that you have in your group they carry characteristics or qualities that you want most in your life. Maybe you have someone that's a spiritual advisor. Maybe you have a fitness person. Maybe you have someone that you can...
A coach in each area. Yeah,
coach in each area. You're accountable to somebody, right? So there's certain people that I tell, hey, I worked out tonight at 11 o'clock at night. I text that person because I'm accountable to it, right? Or I'll be like, hey, I did this on my business, or I did this with my spirituality. So different people I look to for different things, but they all have the same common goal and the same qualities of wanting to better themselves. And because of that mastermind group, it's not just like, oh, look, woe is me. It's like, no, we all have our goals, we all have our visions, and we can all rely on each other, but each of them carry different strengths. And say, hey, those are the different strengths I want in my life. It's going to be kind of a collage of their strengths, but that mastermind group helps us get to be more successful because each of them have those different strengths to rely on. And
I love that you have good examples around you. You're strategic in putting the right people around you that are not only positive and people that care about you, but that you can grow.
Right.
And I say, like, if you're the smartest person in the room or the most successful people in the room, you're in the wrong room. Right. If you want personal growth, you got to be around people that are going to challenge you or make you want to be better. Well, let's think about a little bit more, something more fun or more light. What are some fun, I think you're one of the funnest people I know, but what are some of the maybe fun or unusual things that maybe you think that people should know about you, that no one knows about you?
Well, there's not too many things people know about me because I'm pretty outgoing, but I love to dance. I love techno music, kind of crazy like that way. I love fast driving cars. I am learning how to play piano.
Yes. Again, kind of just challenging yourself in different areas for growth.
Well, I've always wanted to learn how to play piano, and I also want to learn how to sing, even though I can't sing right now, as of yet.
I've heard you karaoke.
Yeah, I can do John Bon Jovi like you wouldn't believe, right? But, it's just, I think it's just understanding like what you love to do. So, whether it's playing sports or, I just love, doing those type of things where like piano I'm learning how to do because I've always wanted to learn how to play music or at least play something, or maybe it's, I like techno music. I love dancing. I can get kind of crazy sometimes on stage. I'm kind of the person that likes to push the limits, even though it might be not so diplomatic, but I like to be a little crazy and fun. I like being kind of a comedian a little bit too.
And as an entrepreneur, controlling your time, controlling your schedule, you can pursue all these things that maybe you wanted to do before.
Right, well, you have a lot more freedom, and then especially if you're getting the financial success that you want, you don't worry so much about the financial stress about it. You can kind of go, I can choose the things I'm going to go pursue, but still know that your business is going to be there to help you get to those goals.
Absolutely. That's what's driving it all. Awesome. Well, one last question. What do you think is one of the biggest reasons for your success?
You know what? My mother-in-law, she gave me a little note, and it was a great quote, and I felt really honored by it. It was during Christmas time, and she goes, Rusty, it was a quote by Michael Jordan. And I don't know exactly how it went, but she goes, Rusty, you're known as the guy that always gets it done. Like, you're the guy that gets it done. And I kind of went, you know what? I really do appreciate that, because for me, like, I think that's a quality that I like to portray, that you can rely on me to get it done. Like, no matter what it is, I'll figure it out. I'll get it done. And I really believe that kind of came from my parents just teaching me, like, hey, just keep working harder, keep pushing the limits, keep bettering yourself, be a better person, being competitive. And at the end of the day, like, my biggest why I exist today is I really just want to make a difference, and I really want to leave a legacy to be remembered, to know that my dash between those 2 years of my life says he changed someone's life for the better, and he helped them get to their happiness too.
Well, I'll tell you, in Sean and I's life and the life of so many people I know, you are making an impact. You're making a huge difference in the people that you're coaching right now. I've seen people come up and making 6 figures under your counsel and leadership.
Thank you.
But your example that you have of working hard, always being reliable, like you said, dependable, a good person, honest, loyal, great husband and father is more than anything. And it's just that example of success in every area. And we just so appreciate you.
We appreciate you. Thank you so much for being there with us. Appreciate you.